So the question is, what does it take to be a pioneer? What is a pioneer? What are the decisions that are required of a pioneer? What is it like to live the life day to day? What does a life look like? What is the internal operating system? The way I think, the way you think. What's really necessary for us to bring forth the thing that constantly calls us to bring it forth? And in my experience working with so many, witches and healers and other supernatural folk around the world, we've all been indoctrinated in some kind of a way, whether it's our relationship with money, our relationship with our bodies and sex, the way we even allow ourselves to express or the way we withhold. It's all, you start digging into this stuff, you realize how much of it is we've been indoctrinated. And so typically it's not until we suffer like hell, we're just in tremendous pain and nobody knows but us. And it's just so normal. And it's like, what am I to do with that? What are you to do with that? When you are, in your bed night after night, after going out and wearing whatever mask that you wear in the world, because you got to get along, because you got to make money, because you got to pay bills, because you don't want to just fucking rot to death, right? And so, the living the double lives and triple lives after time just really wears on the pioneer, right? Just really wears on us. And then eventually, once we get frustrated enough and we hurt enough, we start demanding, and it's not even just us, it's like the thing in us that's dying to come out, that beats in our heart and in our souls and in our genitals. If we're lucky enough, right? If we're tapped in enough, if we demand enough, if we ask the better questions enough, we find a doorway to let it out. Otherwise, if you're like me, you face the door of suicide one too many times. And so what's required of us? What do we need? What do we really need beyond all the self-help books and the mainstream things that we are told to do to become who we really are? What do we really need? What does it really take? And as a Black woman, as a witch, as a supernatural being who's worked with myself and so many others over the years, first of all, we just gotta really start telling them the truth. And we gotta start saying it out loud, out of our mouths. We gotta talk to people. And then in that vein, the problem is, who do we talk to? Because the people who have indoctrinated us, the people that we oftentimes call friends, they don't have the capacity to see us. They may love us, they may like us, they may support us in the ways that they can, but they don't have the capacity to really see us clearly, to be able to catch what we say and accurately reflect and hold the energy of a pioneer and really catch the words and the way of being of a pioneer. And so the very first thing we need after we start telling the truth is having the people in our worlds who can catch the truth that we speak out of our mouths. And although I say that very easily, it has not been an easy thing to find the people, to connect with the people, to, know absolutely that the person who I'm speaking to, that you're speaking to, has the capacity to actually catch what it is that you and I are saying. And that is how the Arrogant Witch community was born. The Arrogant Witch community, which, by the way, it's an alchemical statement. It's a play on what I've witnessed starts to happen as you and I, as pioneers who walk around with this magical melanin flesh, when we start telling the truth and return to who we are. The conditioning of the world, of who we're supposed to be, the deep unconscious programming of who we're supposed to be, people start to respond with that. And one of the words that we're called is arrogant. You're being too much, told to humble, these kinds of things. And where does that stuff even come from? Why would somebody even say something like that? When you trace it and you really just start telling the truth about it, it's because of the programming that universally, right? No matter what country you go to, there's a programming that folks who walk around with melanin flesh are of an inferior. And it's just so deep in the programming that so many of us have normalized it. And so the Arrogant Witch community is a clean space. It's an honest space. It's a whole space where magical melanin witches, healers, and other supernatural folk, I mean, we're talking about supernatural beings, come out of fear and isolation and hiding and into full power, so we can do the work that we came to this planet for, get paid well for it, and live bone deep fulfillment. So what I see for us and what I've given my life to, and why the Arrogant Witch community exists, and why I make myself available to serve in the way I do, is because I see myself creating a space where we really get to come into the full power that is absolutely essential for us to, and this is gonna sound dramatic, but one, not freaking kill ourselves and take ourselves out of the game. So then after that, right, when we really start living, that the unfiltered truth of who we are at a heart level, the blood that runs through our veins, the way we really are when we get rid of the conditioning that we've gotten from our churches, from our parents, and from the other people in our lives about who we are supposed to be. And we dissolve that, because that's what we're doing in the Arrogant Witch community. There's an alchemy involved where that's dissolved. And the grip that it has on our way of being, on our psyche, on the way we speak, the way we move around our lives, it dissolves. It dissolves. And when that dissolves and what's left standing is who we really are. And when we're in an environment where who we really are is fostered, where we have a chance to nurture him and her, the fullness of who we are, over time, the changes, the big radical changes that we're looking to see globally can actually start to happen. This is a big assignment. These are large roles. And only those of us who genuinely have it in our being can pioneer such a thing. You cannot fake this, you cannot try, you cannot, even transform your mind into such a thing. It must exist in your blood and in your soul, because that way it never dies. No matter how much someone tries to beat it out of you or, say things to you to make you feel like you're wrong and you're not. When it's in your blood, when it's in your heartbeat, when it's deep in your soul, it is always there. So what I invite you to do is to lean into the Arrogant Witch community. Lean into what I'm discussing here. Lean into the company. Reach out to us. So in 2019, I was walking down Monkey Forest Road in Bali, in Indonesia. And I remember talking with Spirit, the Most High, and being like, so you gave me the instruction to take this action, and what's going on here? Why am I feeling like there's something in the way, like I'm waiting for something, like something is off? Clearly there's something else that's supposed to be happening here. What's going on? And as I was walking down that really beautiful day, Monkey Forest Road, I clearly heard the Almighty say, just wait. A portal was going to open. And my ego hated that. What do you mean wait? You told me to do this and now you just what? Like, what am I supposed to do with myself now? Like, what am I supposed to do with myself now? Right? You got me on this voyage and like, what do I do with myself now? And I mean, when you get the message, no matter how much you try to fight up against it, that's what it is. So to save yourself unnecessary suffering, you obey, right? And so I did obey, and it gave me an opportunity to even get deeper down into what it is that I was supposed to be doing. And so I had that deeper down, get really preparing myself and being primed in ways I didn't even realize I was being primed for at the time. And so that was 2019. And then 2020 happened, COVID happened, George Floyd happened, and literally I felt the portal open. It was either like the day after Floyd or sometime within the 3 days after the murder of George Floyd. And the portal opened. And I was like, oh my God, did anybody else feel that? Did anybody else feel that? And so that's when I knew it was game time. Now, there wasn't any specific action for me to take at the time, but I knew that it was coming. And so when I got word, which was early 2021, early 2021, I got word that it was now time to come out and really call forth as supernatural beings. It was like, oh my God, like the terror, like the historical terror that would set over my system when I would get instruction to do things, that came. But this time, because I've been doing this work of alchemy and transforming for so long, I knew that it was time for me to get deeper into the alchemy. So I went on this, what I call a rampage of really deeply getting intimate with my deepest fear. And it's called Deepest Fear Inventory. And I did that for like a month with a wonderful Black man who was in my life at the time, and he was my angel at that time. And so the alchemy, like it was such an alchemical month of really looking at my deepest fear, like allowing myself to feel the tremble and the uncomfortability and really seeing the fear all the way through. Like, what if this did happen? My greatest fear, what if this did happen? Like, what would that look like? How would I feel? What would be the result? Who would be impacted? And letting myself feel the fullness of that. It dissolved so much of the terror, so much, that then allowed me to come onto camera like this and serve the way I've served since the beginning of 2021 by bringing forth the Arrogant Witch community, which has been deeply, deeply fulfilling and in service to many, right? And we're growing, right? Right now we're babies, right? Like, meaning we're small, like we ain't babies, right? But we're a small group right now and we're growing bit by bit, right? Kaizen, as the Japanese says, Kaizen. And so many of the fears that I held before birthing the Arrogant Witch community, one of the greatest fears was that Black folks just wouldn't welcome the material that I had to share, that which was streaming through me and begging to come out, that I didn't see anybody else talking about, that seemed like intense and foreign and weird and demonic. Like, what? Like, one of my greatest fears is that Black folks would be like, bitch, get that shit out of here. And what the Arrogant Witch community has confirmed for me is that when you bring forth that which only you have, first of all, that's the definition of pioneer, first of all. Second of all, we literally need it. Our lives depend on it. The number of emails that I get from women, particularly, that are like, I thought I was going crazy. I've been so alone. My family has called me demonic and told me my spiritual gifts are wrong and the devil. I had a woman show up to one of my presentations and was like, I have been getting visits and instructions to do things since I was 3 years old. And I would tell my mom and she would tell me to ignore it and let that go and suppress it. And so now I just hide and I stay in the dark. And she's been in a depression. This lady was like 33 years old, right? And we all got a chance to listen to her speak because it was on Zoom, this presentation. And we got a chance to hear her. And so many of the women were like, oh my God, I totally relate to that. And now, as they are in the Arrogant Witch community and they're sharing what their experience is, they're following the instructions that they are getting. They're feeling lighter, they're making more money, they're feeling freer, more courageous. And we're, like I said, we're a small bunch right now. But as we start to do this more and more and more, and we start to really allow ourselves to lean in the Arrogant Witch community and give ourselves the time and space, because that's what it's going to take. The conditioning that we have, the psychological trauma that we've incurred for decades, it's not going to, for most of us, right? Because there certainly are exceptions. For most of us, it's going to take time and space and being in the community, dissolving over time and space. And as we do this over time and space, dissolving the fears, staying in connection with one another, doing what's hard, not giving up, allowing ourselves to feel what we feel, and changing bit by bit, and also in quantum leaping in our change, right? For those who really crave quantum change. As we start to do this and allow ourselves to follow the instructions that we get, no matter how weird and demonic that people might call things, or strange, or difficult, or unusual, or feeling like nobody else is talking about it, or maybe I shouldn't talk about this, no matter how terrified or afraid that we get, the more that we allow ourselves to say those things and do those things and pioneer those things and invite other folks to come in and building it up in our businesses, the massive change that we're looking for will seep into the ways of being. It will seep little by little. This is what I know to be true. No matter what it looks like or feels like, no matter what other people say, because that's part of what keeps us bound. A large part of what keeps us bound and not doing what we came to do. It's just the fear of what other people think and what they're gonna say, if we'll be rejected, if we'll be abandoned, if people won't like us, if people will talk about us. You get rid of that, and you get inside of a community where it's normal to pioneer, where it's normal to make good money doing what you're doing, where it's normal to say things that are considered weird and demonic and strange. And by the fucking way, do you know that demonic means divine and supernatural? Did you know that? Go look up the root, the origination of the word demon. Yeah, here in the Arrogant Witch community, you come into full power. Not the cute kind for Instagram, or the kind that's palatable for your mom, or palatable for the women or the men in your life. Full, unadulterated, pure, whole, complete power. So I invite you, get in touch with the Arrogant Witch community. Reach out to us. This is your home. If what I've said here, you know it to be true for yourself, and this has been your true lived experience, Arrogant Witch is your home. I invite you to reach out to us today.